My mom forgot to sign out of WeChat on my iPad. And right now, chatting in a family group of 4 without me. Younger brother, mother. The transfer money was pretended to be divided equally. When will you return it to me? I've run out of money to buy a plane ticket home. How about you apply for me again? Little sister. That's right, Mom. I just paid the deposit for a new house, 5,000 yuan, about 17.5 million. This travel money really exhausted me. When will you pay it back, Mom? You too. It's really too urgent. Isn't it waiting for my eldest sister to transfer the money? Up until now, I haven't paid it back to you two every time. In the past few years, in addition to returning the money, I also divided the money your sister sent home equally between the two of us. I and your father even had to add a lot. When I read these lines, my whole body was numb. I looked at the receipt of 300,000, 10,543 million in royalties, folded into a 4-leaf clover along with the surprise gift prepared for the family, falling to the ground immediately afterwards. My father also spoke up. Wife, go see how she's grown. I've been home for 2 days and still haven't transferred the money. It's really worthless. Mom knocked on the door. I was sitting on the floor, my whole body shaking. It feels like the blood in your body is freezing. Waking up, I quickly took out my phone and recorded the entire conversation on my iPad. I followed my mother home. Stepfather since I was 3 years old. A year later, my twins brother and sister from another mother were born. From a young age, to prove that our parents were not biased against anyone, the 3 of us had a notebook to record our expenses. All expenses before the age of 18 for each child are clearly recorded, from diapers, milk powder, to tuition or braces. During TET, they will show us exactly the same amount of spending on 3 notebooks. After that, each child received a lucky money envelope with the same amount of money. My mother always said, where there is love, there is money. I do not favor any child. After age 18, the 3 notebooks turn into AA debit notebooks, divided equally. When the 3 of us started to have income from living expenses of a few hundred yuan per month to TET travel money in recent years, my mother said it was to train us to be independent. After growing up, the 3 sisters had to pay the family's debt together, and my mother did not favor anyone. This form of equal AA division has lasted for 5 years. I am 3 years older than my younger brother and sister to set an example. Every time I am the first to transfer money. This time I have not transferred because I want to keep the secret of the amount of 300,000 from the copyright sale of the novel I wrote. I happily resigned from my job of 4 years, went home 2 days early, and quietly ordered the gifts my family wanted. I plan to wait until my brother and sister come home to announce it together to surprise them. At the same time, I also want to tell them that for at least the next 3 years, our family will no longer need to split AA evenly. Even the money borrowed to open a small noodle shop from my mother and stepfather could be paid for them before the due date. But unexpectedly, the first thing I received was a big shock. The more I thought, the more disappointed I became, but I still didn't know how to ask questions. I had to take a photo of the entire conversation on my iPad, hastily hid the 300,000 4-leaf clover-shaped receipt under my pillow before slowly opening the door. Please bring your iPad for me to borrow for a little longer. Annie Tuet recently asked me to dance together online. Using the iPad is much more convenient. As soon as I opened the door, my mother quickly looked towards the desk behind me, her face clearly showing impatience. I silently breathed a sigh of relief, tried to stay calm, turned around, and gave the iPad to my mother. I also consoled myself in my heart that my mother was not listening to my stepfather urging me to transfer money. But right after that, her mother spoke up again. Yesterday, Tu Fu and Tu Hao transferred their AA accounts equally to the family group. Please transfer quickly so Mom and Dad can book travel tickets for the whole family. I feel a lump in my throat. Mom continued, you've been fired from the company. Can you not transfer money this time? As soon as my mother heard it, she immediately frowned, looking awkward. If you don't transfer, it wouldn't be fair to your younger brother and younger sister, right? From childhood to adulthood, the 3 of us spent almost the same amount. Since we became adults, we started contributing to the family's living expenses, which is also completely fair and equal. You're the eldest sister. Do you want to break this rule? I couldn't help but laugh bitterly. So is it okay if I don't join this TET trip? What do you mean? Mom's voice gradually rose. Her eyes widened, looking straight at me angrily. Speaking of which, Back then, didn't you write in your essay that you were very jealous of your table mate because his family went on a Tet trip? If it wasn't for you, why would our family have to organize this activity for 6 years? Why would we do this? Isn't it because we want you to feel completely loved in this family, to be able to travel here and there, to open your eyes? If not, then at Tet, wouldn't it be better for our family to stay at home and rest comfortably? Is it still possible? Visit relatives, meet friends too. Did you know that I had already booked a travel ticket? So I said that on purpose? We raised our children for so many years, it was a waste of effort. Indeed, I once wrote in an essay in high school that I was very jealous when my table mates got to go on a Tet trip with their families, and that essay even won an award. But my mother started organizing this travel activity when I was in my 3rd year of college. At that time, I was able to earn 3,000 yuan a month by working as a tutor and receiving scholarships. The younger brother and younger sister also earned a little money from part-time jobs during the vacation after university entrance exams. Under their mother's encouragement, they transferred 500 yuan to the family group one by one. That was also the first time the younger brother and sister transferred AA accounts into the family group. We must let the eldest sister have a Tet trip like the person she admires. I was deeply moved and immediately transferred 2,500 yuan at once. I think that since this Tet trip started from my first wish, I will invite everyone, no problem. Mom immediately smiled and refused. Whoever has to share will share as much. You can't break the rules. Besides, this time little brother and sister finally earned money to pay off our debt. This ritual cannot be broken. My stepfather also chimed in. Mom, you're right. Our family of 5 values fairness the most. No one can break it. As soon as my stepfather mentioned the word justice, I immediately remembered the day before when my younger brother and sister complained about their uneven teeth and insisted on getting braces. In total, both cost 10,000 yuan. Because they were afraid I would feel uncomfortable, they also took me to have my perfectly healthy wisdom tooth extracted, which cost 3,000 yuan. Then they also took me to get a new pair of glasses worth 7,000 yuan, which was recorded in the family's expense book. All of this really made me believe that this family is full of love and absolute justice. But now, everything is broken, which also helps me realize the truth of this family of 5. Out of 3 children, I am the only one who is actually paying off debt. My stepfather heard my mother scolding me, so I immediately walked in. I thought he would join my mother in scolding me. After all, in the first place, he was the one who told my mother to urge me to transfer money. But unexpectedly, he gently said, "Die too. Don't make things difficult for your mother. The restaurant is a mess, but every Tet, your mother is busy preparing for the trip you like the most. How about this? This time I will give you an advance, and later when you find a new job, you can pay me back. But don't tell your younger brother and sister about this. Otherwise, they will be jealous of you. You also know that our family values fairness. Most, even our family's AA sharing system has become an example for other families in that area. Last week, Mr. Liu's daughter, who is a reporter, came to my house for an interview and said she wanted to post her father and mother's notebooks on the video site. My mother immediately rolled her eyes at my stepfather and continued to scold me. Don't spoil him. You help him. This time there will be a second time, then a third time. If that goes on forever, he will become lazy just like his biological father. It's just genetics. It's hard to believe. I brought it with me back then. After the divorce, I wanted to set an example to teach him to be a good person. What about the results? I devoted all my heart to raising him for more than 20 years, but in the end, I raised an ungrateful animal. I stood frozen in place, tears silently falling without my realizing it. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve, and outside the house's gate, the sound of firecrackers to welcome Tet can be heard. I turned back to my room and started packing my luggage. Seeing that, my stepfather immediately asked me where I was going. I looked out the window. The sky was dark. The fog was extremely cold. I have to go find a job to collect enough money to share equally with everyone. As soon as I finished speaking, my mother angrily rushed in and slapped me painfully. You're trying to act pitiful, right? You've been working for 4 years, so you have to save up at least 100,000 yuan. Even if you get fired, you might not be able to get 5,000 yuan out. This Tet family trip was originally organized for you. Now that you've said go, where do you want your mom and dad's face to go? If you say a few words, aren't you already happy? It's Tet, and you're planning to run away from home. Huh. Mother scolded and sobbed as if she had just suffered the greatest injustice in the world. I suppressed the burning pain on my face and calmly looked at my mother. Mom, I really look exactly like my younger brother and younger sister. They were all born to me after 10 months of heavy labor and pain. If that's true, why do you pretend to love me and discriminate at the same time? Mother's lips trembled slightly. Mom, why are you discriminating? Before she could finish speaking, she was about to raise her hand and slap me again. I tilted my head to avoid it, laughing coldly. Do you think hitting me can hide the truth? It's a pity. I've seen all the conversations between the 4 members of your family. I snatched back the iPad that my mother had just borrowed. Each line of dazzling messages appeared clearly. A family of 5, nominally living on an equal AA basis for 5 years, but every time the younger brother and sister transfer money, less than 10 minutes later the mother transfers it back to them. In a group chat of 4 people, my mother even told them to follow the rules. On the contrary, all the money I transferred from big to small turned into tuition, computer money, money for my brother's sneakers, even the new house that my sister just bought with a deposit of 10,000 yuan that I transferred last year to prepare for the Tet trip. But every time we travel for Tet, the whole family just stays close to home or takes cheap tours in neighboring provinces, costing almost nothing. So I would like to ask, is this debt divided evenly by AA really just aimed at me? Her mother's eyes flashed with guilt, but she tried to stay calm. What nonsense are you talking about? I just passed those things back and forth for fun. Then they all returned them to me. What about you? Randomly looking at other people's messages like that? Do you know that it violates my privacy? Shouldn't I peek into my mother's chat and then innocently continue to repay my mother's debt for the rest of my life? If my mother felt like leading me to remarry was a burden, she could have left me with my grandmother to raise me instead of pretending to raise me and then setting up meticulous dramas with her whole family to deal with me. Even though I tried to control it, my voice was still choked. My stepfather stood next to me, his face unsightly, as if he wanted to say something to ease the tense atmosphere. At this moment, my sister, Lai Fu Fu, walked into the house. Sister, there's actually a bit of a misunderstanding here. I work in finance at a travel company, and I'm so tired that I have sciatica. Recently, the company gave me the opportunity to switch to being a tour guide. I chose to be a European tour guide, but applying for a European visa is very strict. In addition to the company's social insurance, I also have to have real estate documents and proof of cash flow. So, my mother temporarily transferred money to help me get through this period. I already wrote a debt paper. But, so what? Help me get through the stage and directly pay the 500,000 yuan deposit to buy a house. I asked, so what about my younger brother? What reason does he have? Does he also have a promissory note? Of course there is. Mom will show it to you later. My sister always had a sweet mouth and was good at comforting others. She continued to talk to me and signaled her mother with her eyes. I don't have the same education and income as you, but I really love you. Ever since I heard that you were jealous of your table mate for going on a Tet trip, I've set my sights on becoming a tour guide. Even though I'm just starting out as a trainee tour guide, I'm still very happy because in the future I can take you on a trip abroad. Don't be angry anymore. I bought your favorite peanut candy. As soon as I saw my sister take out a piece of sweet peanut candy, I saw my mother suddenly get mad. She picked up things in my room and destroyed everything she saw. Tu Fu, you don't have to comfort little Tang Tuesday like a princess. Our family doesn't raise a princess. I don't owe her anything, and there's no need to show her any debt papers. If you want to lend money to anyone, it's your freedom. You don't need to ask Tang Tuesday's permission. Mom continued, I see that he is the one who is acting to cheat me of money. It is not like this has never happened before. As a mother, I did not combine his evil bloodline with the 3 children who raised him. Afraid that he would feel that we were biased, I deliberately made 3 books to record expenses. Every black and white word is proof. I have never wronged him. I am always at peace with my conscience. But there are people with evil hearts who doubt the person who raised them, and even want to divide the love between their younger brother, younger sister, and family. Mom continued, if he is exactly like his animal father, it will definitely not have a happy ending, and he won't be able to eat a hot meal during Tet. Mom lost control. Her words were extremely harsh. My sister could only advise me to give in, but I coldly threw away the piece of peanut candy she offered me. Since I was a child, I've been allergic to peanuts, don't you know? Having finished speaking, I pulled a suitcase full of miscellaneous items, quickly put on a windbreaker, and walked straight out of the house. After getting in the car, I suddenly didn't know where to go, so I told the driver to keep driving around aimlessly. Looks like she's going on a trip, but she's lost, right? This place is miserable in winter. There's nothing interesting at all. Wait until next spring when cherry blossoms cover the whole road. Then come here to take beautiful virtual photos. The driver looked at my thin windbreaker and laughed happily. I covered my face with my hands, replied softly, then bowed my head and burst into tears. That's right. How could this place be my home? Will my family really call me by my full name? No way. From childhood to adulthood, my mother never called me by any familiar name, always called me Tang Tuesday. The twins, brother and sister, are different. Mom gave them cute names, repeating familiar rhymes, and on weekdays always called them by the intimate names Tu Fu and Tu Hao. How endearing it sounds. Furthermore, my mother even took the trouble to find a feng shui master to name these two names according to their date of birth. A teacher advised to name it Fuk and Hao, but was afraid that these two words brought too much luck and would make it difficult to maintain good destiny. So, my mother took the similar sounds and named them Lai Fu Fu and Lai Hao Hao. It's true that there's something wrong with them. What about me? Even though I made it clear that I didn't like the name Tang Tuesday, my mother pretended not to hear it and refused to change it. Because in my mother's eyes, I am my father's descendant, and the road is a flower of rice temporarily planted on her fallen patch. Once ripe, it will have to be harvested to reap profits. Now I finally understand that those 3 spending notebooks with my younger brother and sister are proof of my mother's love for them. As for me, it's just a debt collection bill that I have to pay later. I told the driver to take me to the cemetery. I miss my grandmother already. I burned incense in front of her grave, then knelt down and talked to her like before. Grandma, you must really like the new house I moved you to, right? Look, in the back left there is a big tree, and on it there are 2 empty bird nests. They will probably fly back in the spring to be with you. And over there are a few short cherry blossom trees. I crave the cherry blossom cake you made for me in the past. I still remember the time when I had a peanut allergy all over my body, got red rashes, and kept vomiting. A few days later, she took her child home. Every day, she used chicken eggs to roll on her child's belly. I couldn't eat rice, so she skillfully made cherry blossom cake for me to eat. She also made cakes in the shape of rabbits, cakes in the shape of puppies, and cherry blossom cakes in the shape of kittens. I couldn't bear to eat it, so she smiled and said, "It's okay. Eat quickly. I'll make you lots of fresh flour cakes." But since the day she left, I can no longer eat cherry blossom cakes. I don't blame her. I know her. She just wanted to find a peaceful place to sleep for a long time. I just really want to know if she's angry with me because I didn't bring her to this place until now. A gust of wind blew by. She didn't answer me. I remember my father who failed in business, fell into addiction, borrowed money from everywhere, and then stole and robbed. Finally, he died on New Year's Eve, his body so skinny and miserable that he couldn't bear to look at it. Before he died, my mother decided to divorce and quickly took me to remarry. But after he passed away, all the high-interest debt fell on his grandmother. She sold her only house to pay part of his debt. After that, she had to rent a cramped room in the basement, every day picking up scraps and sweeping the streets to earn money to pay his debt. Even though her son had passed away, she still did not think about paying off her debt. It's just that she is too old and weak, and the money she earns is little. Each time he could only repay a few hundred yuan. Each time he was brutally beaten by the creditor. I didn't know about her pain until I was 18 years old. Therefore, I tried to do more tutoring jobs, earning money in addition to transferring money, to repay my mother's debt. I secretly gave it to my grandmother to pay off the debt. Of course, she refused to accept. So every time I leave the money in the motel room and run away. She was angry. Every time she sees me, she throws things and scolds me for not having a granddaughter like you. Go away. One time, she threw a rock and hit my leg, causing it to bleed profusely. I am very sad and cannot understand her actions. Obviously, I just want to help you. Why don't you appreciate it? Because of anger and heartache, I didn't visit her for a long time. It wasn't until the year I graduated from college that Mrs. Lamb became seriously ill, and I rushed her to the hospital. I could only watch her last breath right in front of me. Before leaving, the last thing she said was, "I can finally sleep well." I cried and promised to buy her a beautiful grave, but I didn't have enough money. I had to lie to my mother that I needed 50,000 yuan to attend the company's training course. My mother immediately became suspicious and called my new company to verify. My lie was exposed on the spot. After that, my mother scolded me severely and also lost the job I had just accepted. I had to send her the code to the funeral home. Until 3 months ago, I used the money I saved after 5 years of working to buy her this tomb for 100,000 yuan. Without me, the family Tet trip that started with my wishes would still go on as usual. The destination is the capital Beijing. They toured Tiananmen Square, the Imperial Palace, Mingyuan Park, Yonghua Pagoda, Beihai Park, and the Great Wall. They ate roasted duck at 2 Quidan Fook restaurant opposite the Imperial Palace, ate copper hot pot at Nani Lai Kai and Thap Sat Hai, ate dumplings at Nganai, and enjoyed Thai food at a Michelin restaurant. There's even a 24-hour 4-story bathhouse for hot spring soaks. The 4 of them update their status on social networks at least 3 times a day, sometimes more than 10 posts. The most days, a total of more than 50 statuses, images, and locations almost took up my entire timeline. I remember half a month ago, my mother flatly rejected my proposal to go to Beijing. She only agreed to go to Guangxi, which was closer to home. She said each person's budget was only 5,000 yuan. If you go to Beijing, where the standard of living is expensive, after deducting travel and hotel expenses, you won't have much money left for food and drinks. But now all 4 of them are gone. The hotels and restaurants they went to, my father found on the internet, were not cheap. The total cost soon exceeded 5,000 yuan. The funniest thing is that in every group photo they posted, I was edited and included on the left or right side. Sometimes they are even forced into the middle, standing in a central position. But in all the photos, I was wearing the same outfit, the same stiff expression, completely out of place compared to the lively smiling faces, natural actions, and diverse colored outfits of the 4 of them. Mom also wrote a caption under the photo, "A loving family of 5, celebrating Tet for the first time in Beijing." His younger brother commented, "The second time climbing the Great Wall, when it was cold outside, it was no different from the time I went in the fall, still crowded, still as majestic." The younger sister wrote, "Going to Beijing with my mother and sister, eating roast duck and hot pot, was truly the happiest thing of my year. I also went to Enrich Pagoda, praying for blessings for this year's new career path to be smooth sailing and prosperous." His stepfather wrote, "Mr. Lai walked Tiananmen Square, walked the Imperial Palace, walked the Great Wall." My emotions changed from surprise to anger to silence. Finally, I couldn't help but burst out laughing. The fakeness and acting habits of this family of 4 actually showed signs many years ago. I just refused to believe it and didn't dare to face it. The time I was forced to have my wisdom teeth removed in high school was the clearest proof. When my mother took me to see a dentist, she first made it clear that there was no problem with my wisdom teeth and that I didn't need to be extracted for the time being. But my mother said that the doctor was too old and unreliable. After that, my mother took me to a clinic full of young doctors and had 4 wisdom teeth extracted at once. My face was swollen like a ball for a week, and I couldn't sleep in the middle of the night in pain. Mom only woke up to blame. Tooth extraction is for the good of the children. If it weren't for the children, then why would we waste money in vain? After a few days of being able to walk, it'll be over. When you grow up, you'll understand. Mom and stepfather have never mistreated you. My younger brother and sister fixed my teeth, and we also took our children to get dental work done. It's all for the good of the children. That's right, now I understand. The tooth I was forced to have extracted was an indispensable part of their show. Otherwise, how can they balance the numbers fairly and impartially in the notebook? How can I show my neighbors, relatives, and friends that they love me like those twins? But don't they feel tired? I have already left this play, yet they still pulled me in to act out a happy family scene. I don't want to continue cooperating with them anymore. I also went on social networks. I'm due on Tuesday. I'm in my hometown. I've never been to Beijing, and I'm not in any family photos of 5 people. At the same time, I was kicked out of the house by Mrs. No Ai Hoa and decided to unilaterally cut off relations with her. Regarding nursing care, from now on I will deposit money monthly according to the level prescribed by law. Or if she can make all actual expenses transparent in my notebook from small to large, I am willing to pay that entire debt. Less than half an hour after I posted on social networks, a series of comments and messages rang out on my phone. There was criticism from younger brother and younger sister. Eldest sister, what do you mean? I had to work hard to convince my mother to eat normally and walk happily, but you ruined everything? Besides, you used tape to expose the family's problems? In the new year, you want to make the whole family fly away and bark at the whole family to satisfy your New Year's wish? You're really too cruel. I don't want to say it, but you're really too much. Mom felt sorry that she didn't go to Beijing. In particular, I asked you to edit the photo for several hours to put me in it. Mom also bought a lot of Beijing specialties for you. So why do you repay her like that? Duong Tuesday, I really don't want to call you sister anymore. You stubbornly want to break off the relationship and even announce that you will return all the money that your parents have raised you from childhood to adulthood. Can you pay it back? If you can pay it all, I will eat shit. There were also sarcastic comments from relatives. Duong Tuesday, what's going on between you and your mother? How about coming to my house to eat a plate of steamed dumplings and tell me about it? It's not good to be angry with you. You are family during the new year. It's best to get along. Q Tuesday, what do you mean by that expense record book? It turns out that from childhood to adulthood, your expenses have been recorded? That sounds so distant. If it were me, I would be very sad. If it were my son, your cousin, he would have overturned the table and caused chaos in the whole family. We girls really know how to be more patient. But then going back to the husband's house will be miserable later. It's true that if you have a stepfather, you will have a stepmother. People's hearts are really unpredictable. Luckily, I did not agree to let my daughter marry a man who already had children of his own. Otherwise, my niece Kwong would have been as miserable as Q Tuesday. I just want to say that AI Hoa is really good at acting. Leaving her eldest daughter alone in her hometown, and then going to Beijing with the whole family to enjoy herself. Yet she still acts as a loving family of 5 people. I have to go and look at her personal page again. It must be very interesting. My stepfather called me directly. Big child, I know you and I are not close, but you and your younger brother and sister both came out of my mother's womb. No matter how dissatisfied you are, you can't treat your mother like that. It's not your turn to cut flesh and bones back to me like that. It's best for you to apologize to your mother right away and try to mend the relationship between mother and child. I can't believe it. The anger I had just suppressed was aroused again. Why should I apologize? What did I do wrong? Do you still think you're not wrong? Just as his stepfather was about to continue scolding him, his mother snatched the phone away. Don't waste any more words with him. An unfilial child like him, I don't need it. Do you want to break up, Duong Tuesday? You'd better say you can and do it. From now on, we won't have a Tet family trip anymore. This house is ruined. I hesitated in fear for several minutes. There was a time when I thought about calling back to explain to my mother. But then I didn't know what to explain after calling. Did I really do something wrong? What was wrong was that I longed to have a family. What's wrong is that I want to be loved like a real child. What was wrong was that I only hoped I could be happy. Are these really wrong? Things I've never had. Maybe that's why I wrote in my essay that I was jealous of my tablemate, because his whole family got to go on a Tet trip. I wrote that I hoped to have a father who was not an addict, did not go to jail, and did not fail in business. I also wrote that I wanted a childhood where I could decide whether or not to have my wisdom teeth removed, but I didn't have that. Even though the whole family went on Tet trips together a few times in the future, I still didn't feel real love. Because my sister always smiles sweetly, gives me all kinds of food that I don't like or that I'm allergic to. My younger brother always criticizes me for walking slowly and not smiling when taking pictures. Even told me that filming TikTok videos with it was not suitable. But soon after, he posted on social networks about how much the whole family loved each other. They pretended to be like their mother and stepfather, acting out a happy family of 5. Actually, I also innocently posted a few statuses like that, but after posting them, I felt extremely empty. Now I understand that the so-called family of 5 people who love each other was originally just an empty, fake illusion that did not truly exist. Only their family of 4 exists, a sweet, happy family, just like their chat group name. Sweet, happy family of 4. So I don't have to try to squeeze in there anymore. I have to have a house of my own, even if it's just me. Within a week, I went to see houses with a realtor in several different neighborhoods. Finally, I decided to buy myself a 2-bedroom apartment worth 2 million yuan. At the same time, I also bought myself a small puppy and named it Honyo. I hope she can be as brave as a tiger outside and live happily and comfortably like a cute little girl inside. My mother apparently discovered the 4-leaf clover receipt I left at home, along with a few gifts I hadn't returned. At that time, I bought my mother and stepfather a pair of mage chairs because every day my mother came home from work complaining of pain all over her body. Her stepfather wanted to take her to the blind man's maid shop near her house to relax her muscles, but she refused to go. The first thing I thought of when I received the royalties was to buy a mage chair for my grandmother. Sent one to my old house, sent it to a noodle shop, but the noodle shop was closed during Tet, so the goods could not be delivered. So I promptly canceled the order and requested a refund. The gift I bought for Lai Fufu's sister was a ruby bracelet from Van Cleef & Arpels that she had wanted for a long time. She broke up with her boyfriend because he refused to buy her this item. I really don't understand, but after all, she is my sister, so when I had enough money, I didn't hesitate to order it right away. The price was 40,800 yuan. Even though I was a little heartbroken, I still decided to buy it. But the night he gave me the peanut candy, I silently canceled the order. And the gift for Lai Haohao's younger brother was a pair of limited edition sneakers identical to his idols. I have found many buyers. Even if I have to pay a high price, I am still willing to buy him these shoes. Delivery is very slow. Moreover, goods purchased on behalf of the customer are usually not returnable. So the shoes are still at my old house. After Lai Haohao wore limited edition sneakers and took a photo to post on social networks, it received many likes. Someone asked him where these shoes came from. He hesitated for a long time before answering. My sister bought it for me. Someone asked who she is. At that time, she sent me a text message. My good sister, my lovely eldest sister. I know you love me the most. And I also know you've made a fortune these days. If it's convenient, can you buy me another basketball shirt signed by Ms. B? It's not very expensive. Only 300,000 yuan. Haha. Only 300,000 yuan. Lai Fufu's younger sister's message was even more succinct than her sister's. Why did you only buy shoes for Lai Haohao and a mage chair for your mother and not buy anything for me? Not only do I have the same bloodline as you, I'm also your biological sister. Have you forgotten? When I was young, when I went to dinner in the countryside, I was afraid to pick up the food. You kept picking it up for me. I gave you a chance to make up for it. Let's go on a trip to Europe together. I just received a visa, but the company hasn't let me work yet because I don't have one yet. Experience traveling to Europe. So please use your royalties to travel with me. It will help me gain experience and satisfy my passion for traveling, right? I did not respond to Lai Haohao and Lai Fufu's messages. I directly blocked them. 2 days later, No AI Hoa suddenly sent a video call request. I refuse. A week later, she came to my new house. As soon as we met, she knelt down right in front of the door. Following her were Lai Fufu and Lai Haohao, both holding their phones to record the scene, along with a few familiar relatives. That day, I took Honyo home from the dog park. As soon as I arrived at the apartment building, I saw a few people waiting. I have a feeling something is wrong. I immediately turned around to leave, but my mother suddenly grabbed me. Duong Tuesday, my eldest daughter. Your stepfather was in a car accident and is paralyzed. The treatment costs have already cost 500,000 yuan. I have emptied all my savings and am even transferring the store, but for the time being I can't save anymore. I beg you to save him, child. She grabbed me so tightly that it hurt. Honyo was also scared and retreated at my feet because of her crying. I cautiously asked, "You're not lying to me, are you?" Lai Haohao and Lai Fufu stood next to me, red eyes glaring at me as if I were the driver who caused the accident. Lai Haohao screamed, "Who has time to joke with you about this? It's my father. He's actually in the hospital waiting to be saved." Lai Fufu was more gentle, her eyes filled with tears, her voice pleading. "Sister, we are all family. No one wants to deceive you. I'm asking you to save my father. I'm begging you. When I was a child, my father treated you very well, right?" I tried to suppress my emotions and continued to ask, "So how much will the driver who caused the accident pay? Has the insurance settlement started yet?" No one answered me. On the contrary, a relative standing next to him stammered and said, "Your stepfather was drunk and accidentally ran a red light. The driver who caused the accident has passed away, but he is still alive." Hearing that, I took out my phone and transferred 300,000 yuan to my mother, clearly noting it was for treatment. Receiving the notification on the phone, my mother immediately frowned. "So where's my copyright? Isn't it 3 million yuan?" I patiently explained, I used 2 million yuan to buy a house up front and bought a mage chair for mom and a gift for Lai Hao for nearly 100,000 yuan. In addition, I also spend miscellaneous expenses. Now I only have 400,000 yuan left. Giving you 300,000 yuan is already my limit, Mom. My mother cried, surprised. What? You didn't rent that house, but bought it? In less than a month, you spent 2 million yuan on that house. And you also raised a dog. Her eyes fell on Honyo, looking at the clothes on its body. She angrily shouted, "The clothes on this dog are branded goods, right? Why did you waste money on an animal like that?" I immediately shielded myself in front of Honyo and coldly replied, "This is my money. My dog's house. It's your right to spend whatever you want." Seeing my tough attitude, my mother changed her tone immediately. She knelt down on the ground, banged her head, cried, and begged. Tuesday, can you sell that house to save your stepfather? I won't ask you to pay the debt anymore. I won't ask anymore. When your stepfather wakes up, we'll pay your debt together. Her actions stunned me. I was so scared that tears welled up in my eyes. He quickly knelt down to help her up, trying to persuade her to calm down. But she completely lost control and kept kowtowing in front of me. My mother, the woman who used to boast so much pride and dignity, now knelt down and bowed her head in front of her daughter in a crowded place. Maybe she's really desperate. I couldn't hold back that thought. For a moment, my heart softened, about to agree to her request. But my mouth suddenly blurted out a question. So what about my sister's house? Is Lai Fu's house going to be sold? The atmosphere immediately became terrifyingly quiet. Everyone was silent. My mother also stopped shaking her head. Lai Fu pursed his lips, then slowly spoke after a while. Sister, I just changed to a new job. If I sell that house, it will be very difficult for me to reapply for a visa. I was completely enlightened. Even at this moment, my mother was only thinking about her twins. Her sadness, along with her desperate head bows, almost made me freeze. In an instant, everything became meaningless in my eyes. I coldly shouted, "Get out of here immediately." They looked at each other awkwardly, not daring to say another word, and quietly left. After that, the video recording the scene of my mother kneeling and burying her head under the apartment building was posted online. The storm of criticism and slander came from everywhere. Some people call me an ungrateful child, a cold-blooded and heartless person. There were also people who scolded me for being ungrateful and even compared me to an animal. Some people even came to my house, throwing rotten eggs and liquids of unknown origin at my door. I know very well who distributed that video. We also know who is behind manipulating this irrational crowd. I immediately collected all the evidence, contacted a lawyer, and sued each person who defamed and insulted me one by one. A month later, Lai Hao and his famous online friends had to spend 15 days in jail for defaming others' reputation. At the same time, I also made public the entire chat of the family of 4, including the details of the equal division of AA, targeting only me. The entire TET trip to Beijing didn't include me, but they put my photo in every family photo, along with fake comments about the close love of the family of 5. I also recorded the scene of my mother kneeling in front of me, using morality to force me to sell the house to save my stepfather. But she couldn't bear to force her shy daughter to sell her house to pay her hospital bills. Immediately, the public reversed course. The wave of criticism and slander rushed back towards them. After that, I sold the house worth 2 million yuan and moved with Honyo to another city. Before leaving, my mother sent me all the expense bills from when I was a child to adulthood, asking me to pay the entire debt at once. I seriously recalculated. According to her records, from the time I was 3 years old to 18 years old, she spent a total of 1.68 million yuan to raise me. Since I was 18 years old, I started dividing AA equally to pay off debt. Until now, I am 28 years old. In total, I paid 600,000 yuan, plus the 300,000 yuan I had previously transferred to her. I still owe her 780,000 yuan. Afraid that I would default on the debt, she even dragged me to the Justice Department to have the debt notarized. But it was there that I received legal advice from a judicial officer. You can sue your mother because she asks me to pay back the expenses of raising her, including the expenses that fall under her obligations and responsibilities as a mother. This behavior is illegal. Of course, when the time comes for me to fulfill my duty of care, if I refuse to do so, she also has the right to sue me. Currently, if I insist on suing her, she will likely be detained. But my stepfather is still bedridden and needs her care. She lowered her voice and begged me to forgive her. This time, I nodded in agreement, suppressed my emotions, and walked away from her step by step. Many years later, I realized that my mother never really loved me. She even hates me. I'm just a remnant of her failed marriage. She chose the wrong man and gave birth to a child she couldn't leave behind. But she did not dare to face this truth. At first, she deceived herself, taking the child she did not love with her, but calculating every expense, calculating every emotion, every mistake of that child. In the end, she was actually calculating her own wrong choices in the past. That's why she set up a story about dividing evenly to force me to repay the debt, forcing me to participate in every drama she perfectly staged. It took me a lot of psychological counseling to fully digest this truth. But this is not my fault. In the future, I can be completely happy on my own. I said it to the wind. I said it to my grandmother's grave. I said it to Honyo, and I also said it to the brilliant fireworks of the new year. Thank you for listening to the story on the channel. Please like, share, and comment below the video so we can be motivated to produce more good stories. Hope you enjoy listening to the story.